I genuinely, honestly think wavy hair is the absolute best. You just need to learn how to love it. In the noughties, I would watch Sex and the City on repeat. I loved that show. I was obsessed with the character Carrie Bradshaw's hair. And deep down in my heart, I knew that I had a natural wave and curl pattern to my hair, and yet I continued to treat it like it was straight, even though I could have had Carrie Bradshaw hair 2 decades ago. In May 2023, I finally put down my straighteners, my hot styling brush, my curling tongs, well, you get it, I finally stopped overheat styling my hair and decided to fully, truly commit and embrace my naturally wavy hair, which, to be honest, I'd always considered just frizzy, unmanageable, messy, and even at times described it as a bird's nest. This video is a happy 1-year wavy hair anniversary to me. And to celebrate, I wanted to chat to you about a bunch of different wavy hair topics, with the hope that by the end of this video, you might feel inspired to embrace your waves, you might learn about a new technique or tip, and have a solution to a problem that you've potentially been facing. Basically, I hope this video will help you with your wavy and curly hair journey. I'm going to share my wavy hair story with you, so make sure you are comfortable, that you are hydrated, grab snacks, let's talk all things wavy hair. I've got notes because there is a ton of stuff to cover, and I thought we would start off with kind of like how I actually got started, how my hair was looking just before I began embracing the waves, and then also what I think it means to have wavy hair. And I'll explain that in a little bit more detail. I'd also thought what would be most useful to someone to cover in this type of update. So I'm going to talk about my favourite products, things that have really helped transform my hair, techniques and tips that make a really big difference. And then also, I think the most useful part will be some of the challenges I've faced and the solutions that I've got that I can share with you that might hopefully help you if you're facing the same thing. And then also just some of the highs and lows. Oh, and one last thing actually, before we get into the nitty gritty, I've been working really hard on pulling together a wavy hair care guide. It's a get started guide. So it includes 3 key wash routines that you'd need, product recommendations, a guide to repairing damaged hair, and some troubleshooting and top tips. You absolutely could find out all of that information by watching all of my videos, but I did just want to bring all the key information together because when you are first starting out, it is so overwhelming, or at least I found it really overwhelming, just how much information there is out there. So I thought it would be a really good, useful tool to have a get started guide. I hope you find it helpful if you do decide to download it. Right, comfy, hydrated, let's go. So this story starts with me upset and frustrated at how horrible my hair felt. It felt like candy floss to the texture, so it had that weird, sticky, couldn't really run your fingers through it, felt like it might disintegrate at any moment texture. And all of this may sound dramatic, and I appreciate that in the world of problems, hair is not a huge one, but I'll be honest, it was really getting me down. Despite using expensive treatments and products and hair care, nothing I did seemed to make any difference. I even went to the extent of having all my hair chopped off, massive restyle. I thought it would reset things, but I didn't change any other behaviours, so obviously it didn't. And if anything, it actually probably felt worse because now it was short and damaged. That's when I decided enough was enough. I had to make a change, and I committed to growing healthier, stronger, longer hair. And in my heart of hearts, I knew that that meant I finally had to embrace my naturally wavy texture. First thing I did was headed off to Google and asked, how do I look after naturally curly hair? And to stop this video being 6 hours long, I will summarise what I found after many hours of reading and research, and that was I don't have curly hair at all, I've got wavy hair, and that's what I need to research. I stumbled across the wavy hair method. Now, I want to be completely transparent always here on my channel. I only managed to follow that method for about 3 or 4 weeks. I just personally found it too strict and a bit too complicated. It's just me, I don't work well with things that are too restrictive. I did try and stick it out for a while. I can't say that it's the thing that transformed my hair, but it is the thing that helped me really get motivated to learn as much as I could. So that's kind of where I started. I just, if I'm really honest, used it like a pick and mix. There were different Facebook groups, different pockets of information. There are different people on YouTube and Instagram that I follow, and I just kind of took the bits I liked and ignored the bits that I didn't. However, what I did learn first up was about clarifying washes, and that is where you want to start if you are ready to embrace your wavy hair texture. I'll link my clarifying wash routine here. I'm going to do an updated one soon because that was the clarifying wash that I used to do when my hair was much, much more damaged. Ultimately, what you're trying to achieve with the clarifying wash is getting rid of all the product buildup, all the kind of dirt, dead skin cells, all the stuff sitting on the roots and on your scalp, and washing it all away. So start with a clarifying wash routine. After developing a clarifying wash routine, I then also worked out a everyday normal wash routine. So what products was I going to use when I was just washing and styling my hair wavy? I decided to opt for sulfate free. 12 months ago I had heat damaged, colour damaged, dry, floofy hair, and so I decided that based on all the information that's out there, I would avoid sulfates because I do believe they can potentially be stripping. And I would try to avoid drying alcohols, and at that moment in time I was also trying to avoid silicons. So based on all of that, and based on the fact that I worked out that protein was something that my hair potentially really, really needed because of the characteristics, I then built myself a wavy hair wash routine. That would be the routine that I would follow when I wasn't doing a clarifying wash. Now, in terms of frequency, this is another one which I think it's really hard to give somebody advice on this. And I do think that if you go on the internet, it says wash your hair as little as possible. And I've read lots of things where people are like, oh yeah, I go 7, 8, 9 days between washing my hair. That just won't work for my lifestyle. And unfortunately, I learnt that the hard way because I ended up with, on a couple of different occasions actually, really itchy, sore scalp. And it was because I hadn't washed my hair frequently enough. So you have to do what's right for you. And generally these days, I probably wash my hair every 4 days. And that's not where the damage was coming from. I wasn't damaging my hair from washing it. Really, what I'm recommending is build yourself a clarifying wash routine and a wavy hair wash routine with products and ingredients that suit your hair characteristics. So if, like me, you've got finer hair, you might want to have volumizing products. If you've got, again, like me, bleach damage, heat styling damage, you might want to make sure you've got protein in that routine. However, if you've got really thick hair, or you know it's on the drier side, you might want some of those more moisturizing, buttery, deeply nourishing ingredients. So just make sure you've got the right ingredients in your wash routines that are going to help with your personal hair characteristics. I have a ton of information on my channel about favourite products, be it like monthly favourites or my favourite protein treatments. So I didn't want to talk too much about products, but then I thought it's products that really make a big difference. So what I've done is I've got my favourite product for each category or each step in a process. I'll run through them really quickly with you. My favourite shampoo, it is sulfate free, it is from Rhyme and Reason, and it is the Wave Revival. The reason I love this so much is it does such a good cleansing job, and yet it is so gentle. It just leaves my hair squeaky clean, but also hydrated at the same time. So that's why that is my favourite shampoo. My favourite conditioner, it's the Soy Protein Conditioner from Aldi. This has been one of the most transformative hair care products that I have found in the last 12 months. And luckily for me, I found it really early on in my hair journey. And honestly, I really hope they never discontinue it. I haven't even bothered to try to find an alternative to it because it's less than £1.50. I personally don't have too much trouble ever getting hold of it, and it leaves my hair soft, nourished and still defined. I used it today. I'm loving today's results. My hair feels so soft to the touch. Can't recommend it enough. I hope you've got an Aldi near you. Next up, and that is a leave-in conditioner, and this is my more recent finds. It's from Ceremonia. It's a detangle UV and heat protectant spray, and it is an absolute delight. I cannot recommend it enough. It's not quite as budget friendly as some of my other recommendations. I think it's in the £25 mark. But trust me, it is well worth it. And it's a multitasker, so it'll protect from sun rays. I use it every single time I'm going to diffuse my hair, which is 99% of the time. I live in the UK. It's flipping way too cold to let my hair air dry. And it also helps massively detangle. So if you're prone to knots and tangles, I cannot recommend that one enough. Now, I am a huge fan of a curl cream. Today, I used the Wavy one, which I only recently just purchased, but it is a delight. However, my current favourite, it's too early to tell about this, it was the only second time that I'd used it. My current favourite is Aveda Be Curly. I love that stuff. It's lightweight. The formula is just amazing. You don't have to dilute it. It will not weigh down my waves at all, but it does leave them very defined and hydrated. So yep, sorry, another one that's not super budget friendly, but it is lovely. Next up, mousses and foams. I'm not a personal fan of a mousse, so I don't really have a favourite mousse. However, favourite foam, until very recently, I am going to give you two here because it was going to be Curlsmith's Volume Foam, because I absolutely do love that stuff and I think it is wonderful, and it will definitely give you lightweight hold and amazing lift, texture and volume to your hair. It adds a little bit of grit, I find, the Curlsmith one. However, for about the last 5-ish wash routines, I have been using Function of Beauty's, it's got wave in the title, like Wavy Mousse, and it's very much more like a foam, I would say. It's really fluffy, really lightweight, no sticky residue, and it is half the price of the Curlsmith one, and I feel like it's so comparable. That's why I'm giving you two, because I feel like I've tried and tested the Curlsmith one. I couldn't even tell you how many times I've used that, but I probably only have used the Function of Beauty about 5 times. But I am obsessed with it, totally in love with it. Used it today. Don't judge the volume. I intentionally flatten this area down because it helps with halo frizz as well. We'll get back to that top tip later. But yeah, can't recommend that foam enough. Yeah, so 2 for the price of 1 there. Okay, next up is my favourite gel. That is Stronghold Gel from Giovanni. Not a great amount to say about this other than it does exactly that. It will give you hold for days. Brilliant, brilliant product. Favourite bond repair. Now, I honestly do believe that protein treatments and bond repairs have been the biggest game changers to transforming my dry, floofy, candy floss-like hair. And my favourite, this is difficult to pin down because there are some great options out there, but it is Olaplex number 3. And I feel a bit torn because I know lots of people have had negative experiences. It's just, personally, I have only ever had amazing results from Olaplex. It has really transformed my hair, and actually it was the period of time where I stopped using number 3 that I think my hair got into its absolute worst condition. Favourite protein treatment nowadays would be from Jaya, and it's their Goat's Milk Hair Mask. This is a powerhouse protein treatment. It's insanely good. It works super, super fast. You can put it on in the shower. It will help detangle hair. Sometimes I will use it as a hair conditioner instead. It just, yeah, it's amazing. And it's only $5.99. So that also, I think at that price point, it's so budget friendly. It just stacks up to some of the much, much more expensive protein treatments. So highly recommend that one. And finally, my favourite moisturising mask, and it's the Camille Rose Deep Algae Renew Conditioning Mask. And again, this is why I think it's so important not to get too restrictive to certain rules and methods, because if you just looked at that product from an ingredients list, you absolutely would probably say, oh, that is going to be way too heavy for a wavy hair texture. It's filled with butters and oils. It's going to weigh down your waves and potentially leave you in moisture overload. But for my highlighted, colour treated hair that is on the drier side, it absolutely loves it. And it's actually introducing more moisturising, nourishing ingredients about sort of 8 months into my journey, which has really accelerated my hair growth. I can't believe how much longer my hair is suddenly looking, but that would be a really key tip for me, is continually review what your hair needs. I'd been doing the same routines for quite a while, and I think 7 months in, I realised I need to change some things up here, and actually adding in some more moisturising ingredients was a real game changer for my hair. Let's now talk about techniques and tips that I have found most helpful and most transformative. The first would be learn to do the squish to condition method. It sounds so silly, but it does really hydrate your hair and it kind of supercharges your conditioner. What you would do is cover your hair in conditioner, detangle, can't recommend a wet brush enough by the way, and then cup your hands, fill them with water from the shower, and then put your hair into the cup of water and squeeze like that. So as if you were scrunching or forming curl clumps, but while your hair is covered with conditioner and your hands are filled with water. And what it's helping your hair do is suck up all those moisturizing, conditioning ingredients. That has definitely really, really helped my hair. And sometimes I'm lazy and I don't do it, and I do notice the difference. So it will help to supercharge your conditioner. Second tip, and I kind of alluded to it, was get yourself a wet brush. I already had a wide tooth comb and I had a tangle teaser, but buying a wet brush has just really massively helped me from a hair loss perspective. It's just really, really good at detangling, so you're not snagging and you're not pulling out hair that you would rather stay on your head. So I personally can't recommend one of those enough. Heatless curl methods, let's talk about them. On some of the Facebook groups that I'm a member of, some people almost like refer to them as cheating, like, oh, I cheated and I did a heatless curl method. I personally think they're absolutely brilliant, and I don't know why you wouldn't learn how to do them, because I've actually saved failed wash days. There was one a few months ago where getting ready for work and I was doing my makeup, and as I was doing my makeup, I kept sort of touching and moving and messing about with my hair, and anyway it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and not in a good way. There was so much frizz, and so I think I just slung it back in a loose ponytail for work. But that evening I used my continuous spray bottle, wet my hair down and wrapped it in a heatless curl method, and my hair looked insanely good the next day. Sorry, that sounded really vain, but in comparison to the floofy, fluffy, Hagrid-like bird's nest that I had the day before, I woke up with really lovely defined waves and curls. Yeah, I would highly recommend heatless methods. They have saved failed wash days. When I've got stretched out waves, they help like re-inject some definition. It means I can go a whole extra day sometimes without having to wash. It gives you a completely different look and a different pattern. And I think this comes back to, again, like what it means for me to be wavy. We have the best hair texture. Having wavy hair is the most flexible, because you can make it look pretty straight if you want to, and you can make it look really quite curly, and you can make it look all kind of things in between. So I genuinely, honestly think wavy hair is the absolute best. You just need to learn how to love it. And one of those is learning different methods and techniques. So definitely try out some heatless methods and let me know what you think. Another great tip, get yourself a satin scarf. This will be one of the most versatile things you can possibly own for your wavy hair. You can protect your waves at night with it. You can use it as a lovely hair accessory. I use mine on holiday to protect it from a straw hat. There are just so many things that it is useful for. Let's talk refreshing for a moment. Now this is quite a big topic and there are tons of refresh products out on the market and I don't own any of them because I don't refresh. So I can't give you any advice when it comes to refreshing routines. You won't find one of those on my YouTube channel unless this is now a really old video and I've become a complete convert to refreshing. But for me, I look at them and I think, God, that's a lot of work. I may as well just wash my hair again. I just don't do it. So I'm sorry if that's really unhelpful for you and you were hoping that I was going to give you a refresh routine. But my only top tip is don't touch your hair for 20 minutes after taking it down or out of a satin scarf in the morning. Oh, and then actually also learn some beautiful updos because I have been experimenting with updos much more recently, and I think when you know how to do a good updo, like there's a messy bun that I've been doing, and then there's like a twist with a grabby thing, little crip. It makes your hair look much more slick and lovely. And then funny actually, the satin scarf that I mentioned, I have a method where I use that as a hair accessory. So I refresh my hair as in I do something with it, but I'm not going to scrunch and pulse and add product and wet it down and all that kind of good stuff because I feel like it's enough work on day one. I'm not going to do that every other day. And one last thing that I kind of wanted to say about techniques and tips and stuff is I think it's really fun to experiment, but I only really started experimenting once I had a go-to routine that I felt really confident in. Because when you've got wavy hair and you've only relatively newly started to embrace it, there'll come a point where you're asked out to go out with friends or you go out on a date night, and all my natural instincts when that happened to me was, oh God, I'm gonna get the blow dry brush, I'm gonna get the shark out. No, I can't go naturally wavy, it'll look a mess, And I didn't. I went out with some friends. I remember we went out to a pub just for some drinks and dinner, and I went with my naturally wavy hair, and it was really freeing, but I was having a good wash day. I do think it's important to have a wash day routine that you've got down, that you feel like this is going to be a guaranteed good wavy hair day, because then when you come to experiment and things don't go quite to plan, it's not like this big catastrophe and you feel like throwing in the towel of embracing your waves, because you know it was just, oh, I experimented, I tried something new, I learned that actually that doesn't work for my hair, but I quite like this product. Or so definitely experiment and have fun with it, but make sure you're confident with at least one routine before you do that, just so that you don't get frustrated and grab those straighteners again. Challenges that I have faced in the last 12 months. The first up is frizz, and I think this is the bane of every wavy hair person's life, and it can ruin a good hair day. And you're not going to like the first thing I'm going to say, and that is you have to accept it a little bit. It is just part of our hair texture, but there are ways you can manage it. And I think some of it does depend on what type of frizz you're dealing with. So let's talk about damage first. Damaged hair is going to be on the frizzier side. Repairing damage can be done from bond repair treatments. Personally, I would recommend K18 and Olaplex number 3. But also moisturising masks, deep conditioners, nourishing treatments, protein treatments will help with damage, but then also looking at what caused the damage in the first place. So try and tackle the thing that's causing the damage, as well as also introducing some products that are going to help repair damage. That will definitely reduce frizz, but also you may just have to accept that some of it needs to grow out. The next one that I particularly have really faced is new growth and grey hair frizz. So new growth has happened because I think of all the healthy hair habits that I have introduced in the last 12 months. And that means I've got hair that is this long, this long, this long, this long. And obviously when it's got a natural wave pattern to it, it's sticking out and waving at all different lengths. And my hair does look insanely frizzy at times. I mean, today's not a bad day, and it's because I've used a lot of the tricks that I'm about to share with you, but I've still got plenty of it, and I don't actually care anymore about that frizz. Partly because when I looked back at my inspiration photos, I look at their hair and think, gosh, they've got loads of frizz too. But I never looked at their hair initially and thought, oh my God, her hair's so frizzy. I thought, oh my God, I love her naturally wavy hair. So that's what I mean when it comes to embracing some of the frizz is I don't think other people always see it the way that you see it. But in terms of what I do to help reduce it is oiling treatments. And there are two ways that I use oil. First, to stimulate my scalp. I think that helps promote circulation and blood flow to the area, which will help with hair growth. And I do think that oils really help nourish the hair, particularly when, like mine, it's on the drier side. And then also at the end of my routine, even when I was trying to follow the wavy hair method, I still broke this rule and I did use a hair oil. So yeah, I use an oil to finish my routine almost every single time. And I smooth it over this area, which is why I also choose not to create too much volume up here, is I smooth it down because that will also help with that sort of frizzy halo frizz area that happens up here. So personally, I can't recommend oils enough to help reduce frizz. Other things that I would recommend are take your conditioner, your protein treatments, or your nourishing moisturising masks all the way to the top. So cover the roots as well as the mid-lengths and ends. So those are some of my solutions. Oiling treatments, bond repairs, address and reduce damage, and condition all the way to the top to help reduce frizz. And the final challenge that I kind of wanted to talk to you about was stretched out waves, or your hair looking like absolute by the second day. I think when you've got wavy hair, it's so prone to quite easily kinking and curling that it can get stretched out and it can look not amazing by day 2. And maybe even more so if you've got fine hair, which I do have fine hair. So I know that pain because let's face it, a wash day routine can take a long time, particularly because of the drying process. And so to feel like you've put in loads of effort and then by day 2 it already looks like not your ideal hair day is really frustrating. My first recommendation would be use a strong hold gel. I definitely think having a hold product is going to help with longevity. Second, assess your nighttime care routine. I don't do a lot, but I do always protect my waves at night. It only takes less than 30 seconds to put my hair up into a loose ponytail with a scrunchie and then just letting it drop for like 15 to 20 minutes, have a coffee, brush your teeth, there's your 20 minutes, job done. Just let your hair relax before you start assessing it and thinking it doesn't look great. Because actually, by that point, I think you'll find your waves look really pretty. And my third tip is, and I mentioned it earlier, learn some great updos. I've had way more highs than I've had lows in the last 12 months. And I'm so glad that I took this decision to finally embrace my natural texture, because I feel like the transformation has been huge for me. My hair is thicker, it is fuller, it's grown faster than it ever has done before. I couldn't even bear to touch my hair because it honestly felt like it would disintegrate between my fingers. And to be honest, one of my biggest challenges is I am forever touching my hair and causing more frizz than I should. But just because it feels so nice to me now, in comparison to what it used to before. I hope that this might inspire you to start embracing your natural waves. To end, I just wanted to kind of share 5 key steps. If I was starting out now, these are the things that I think you need to know the most. And the first is do that clarifying wash. You need to clarify your hair. Second, I would work out, does your hair need protein or does it need moisture? And then work that ingredient into both of those routines. Thirdly, stick with a simple wash day routine and get used to using those products, because sometimes I think it's really easy to try something once, be it a product or a method, it not go perfectly and to think it doesn't work for you. But my advice would be stick with it and try it quite a few times before you make your decision. Fourth, track progress. Finally, experiment. Once you've got 1 to 4 down, try it all. Try the scrunch method, try the bowl method, try brush styling, because that's the only way that you'll learn which you love the most. And I have found that every single method works. I just have some that I love more than others. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for watching and subscribing and your comments. I love to hear from you. So anything you want to talk about further, let's have a chat in the comments. But for now, take care and I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.